In a month, we're going back to school. Well, not me, I'm too old for school, but some of you are, which means we gotta talk about some of the best laptops to buy for back to school. I'm gonna break this up into a few different sections by price point, and I wanna start with the budget section. This is gonna be under $600, and based on my findings, there are three options that you have. The first one is if you're like really struggling, you can't afford a lot, you just need something to get by at school. Take a look at the Lenovo Duet 11 Chromebook. This thing retails for $280. Yes, it's not going to blow you away. It's not gonna have the fastest performance on the market, but it will have 4 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage. It will use a MediaTek Companion processor and give you a Full HD Plus display, but it will get you through the semester. It will allow you to take notes. It'll allow you to stay in that Chrome browser to do all the work that's necessary for some of your courses. Now, if you can afford a little bit more, maybe like $329, take a look at the iPad. Like, the iPad is an underrated back to school device. It has a faster processor than the Duet I just mentioned. You have a 12 megapixel camera so that you can do your calls. You have the ability to buy a pen to use with the iPad in case you want to like jot down notes by hand or actually sketch and draw. Plus you have access to the App Store, which just gives you so many options to choose from if you need to be a little bit more in depth. Now, to save a little bit more money if you decide to go with the iPad, don't buy Apple's keyboard. I know it's probably the best one for it. It's just way overpriced. Buy like a third-party accessory instead, and then if you need to jot and take notes, then go ahead and buy the Apple Pencil. The third option is if you need a proper laptop, and look, for $350, which is not a lot, you can pick up the HP 15.6-inch laptop. Look, it's not a pretty one, okay? It's gonna have bezels that are thicker than your grandma's mustache, but you know, it's gonna have an AMD Ryzen 5 7000 CPU, which is an older CPU, but still very good for its time. It'll give you pretty good battery life, probably not as good as the iPad, but you'll have 16 gigabytes of RAM. You'll have 256 gigabytes of storage, which means you might need to buy some external storage if you need more, but the display is not gonna be that great. Like, I'll be honest with you, the display is gonna be like HD, which is not the best, but for $350, you really can't complain. Now we're gonna talk about the mid-range price point. This is between $600 and $1,000. I feel like if you're going back to school, this is the area where most of you should be. You're gonna get a lot more value and you're gonna get something that's gonna last you 2 or 3 years at the very minimum, okay? For $600, look at the Asus ZenBook A14. This thing is gorgeous, it's tiny, it's light, and the battery life is going to be absolutely insane. Not only are you getting a Full HD Plus OLED display, you're getting 16 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage. The only thing I should mention though is that it's using a Snapdragon X Plus CPU. So it's using the ARM version of Windows, it's using the ARM version of the web browser, and if you're living in the browser and doing, using a lot of applications that have been compiled for ARM, you'll be okay. It's just sometimes when you use like an x86 app, there are sometimes error when it's trying to translate it. But for most students, this is a great option for $600. Now for $50 more at $650, I would take a look at the Samsung Galaxy Book 4 360 2-in-1. So this is a 2-in-1 convertible, has a bigger display at 15 inches, Full HD AMOLED, 16 gigabytes of RAM, just like the A14, and 512 gigabytes of SSD. Now the Intel Core 7 150U is not the fastest processor on the market. The battery life on it will be pretty good, but probably not as good as the ZenBook A14, but it'll be good enough, and this will give you access to all the x86 apps, so you won't have any compatibility issues. Now, if you're comfortable spending $100 more and you really want to stick to a convertible or a 2-in-1, I would take a look at the Lenovo Yoga 714. It's a smaller laptop at 14 inches, but you have an AMD Ryzen AI 300 CPU, which means you get that very beefy RX 860M integrated GPU. This is good enough to, have some light large language models on your computer if you want to play with it, because you can share that VRAM, but it's also good enough if you want to like game lightly between classes. It too has an OLED display. It also has 16 gigabytes of RAM like the other two laptops, but you get more storage. Like, we're talking about 1 terabyte instead of 512. Now for $50 more at $799 is the best laptop for most students, and that's the MacBook Air 13 with M4. Like $799, that's a $200 price drop. You're getting 16 gigabytes of RAM. Not the most storage at 256, so you might need to carry some external storage, but this is a solid machine. Like, the battery life is going to be exceptional. It's gonna run everything you throw at it. And for an M4, it can do a lot more than some of those other laptops that I just mentioned. Plus, it's quiet. There's no fans inside. So no matter what you're doing, you're never gonna hear the fans ramp up because they don't exist. And my last choice for the mid-range option goes up to $900, and that's the Asus ZenBook 14 OLED. I feel like this is the best value OLED you can buy right now, at least in the Windows category, because not only are you getting an H-series CPU, the new Arrow Lake CPU, you're pairing that with an Intel Arc iGPU, which gives you a good balance of battery life and most importantly, performance. So you can do a little more compared to the other Windows laptops that I've just suggested. Now the premium option. I feel like at this price point, you're probably buying something with a dedicated GPU or enough performance for certain types of software in the classes that you're taking. So my first pick would be the Asus Zephyrus G14. Even today, 3 years later of me recommending this laptop, it's still one of the better 14-inch laptops for the money. Now, if you are buying it, the 2025 model, I'd only buy the RTX 5070 Ti version. This is the sweet spot, okay? Anything lower than the 5070 Ti, I'd personally try and find a good deal on last year's G14 because the performance value of the 5060 and 5070 is not that drastic. I wouldn't buy the 5080 version either. Like, you're paying extra money for not that much more performance. Like, the value isn't there, but the 5070 Ti is exactly where you want to be. Now, if you're taking something that involves a lot of design work, you're a creator, and these are the classes you're taking, take a look at the MacBook Pro 14. Like, it still offers insane value. Not only that, you're gonna get good performance, you're gonna get some of the same features as the Air, like great battery life, a gorgeous mini LED display, fantastic speakers, class-leading touchpad, and a very good keyboard. Now, obviously, I'm mentioning the 14-inch versions of these laptops because they're cheaper and they're lighter and easier to carry around. Obviously, if you want a bigger screen, go out and buy the 16-inch versions of these laptops if you require it. Those are pretty much like my favorite laptops for back to school right now in terms of price point. I also want to give a small honorable mention to the LG Gram Pro AI 17. Like, this is a 17-inch display with an RTX 5050 that is 3.3 pounds. Like, a laptop that size and this light with this type of performance is pretty cool. My only issue with this laptop, at least right now, is that it's very expensive. So maybe keep an eye on it. If LG drops the price, it could be an option for you if you decide to buy a bigger laptop to go back to school. Anyways, links to all of these laptops will be in the description down below. If you have any questions, let me know as well. Also, have a good first semester back to school. And yeah, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.